Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Goodie Nation podcast. This is our second episode in our Queens of Innovation edition, our special for Women's History Month, where we are featuring some of the amazing women in the Goodie Nation community. And this episode, we are talking to someone who is not only a part of the Goodie Nation community, but she is what we'll call her a plug, who is helping other folks in the innovation space to find opportunities, providing knowledge, ecosystem building, all those great things. And so, Regina, welcome to the program today.
Thank you, Casey, for having me. What's going on?
Oh, just living the dream.
A little bit of that.
Living the dream. But I would love for you to let us know a little bit more about who you are and what it is that you do.
Sure. So I'm Regina Gwynn. I'm one of the co-founders of Black Women Talk Tech. We're one of the largest resource platforms for women in technology from both an entrepreneur and a tech professional perspective. We've been building this community since 2017 out of a personal need. Myself and my co-founder, Asosa Igudero, are both tech entrepreneurs. We launched our own startups way back when, so we intimately understand the challenges that face women as it relates to building technology businesses. I personally know the challenges of finding that co-founder, finding a CTO, navigating the venture capital space, fundraising, scaling, understanding how to think about milestones, your operational strategies, your technical stack, your productivity stack, and understanding how lonely it can be building a business that's just never been thought of before. And so we educate, amplify, and fund women entrepreneurs through a lot of different ways. We host a technology conference called Roadmap to Billions. We host that event here in New York City as well as in Toronto, and we've hosted it in London as well. We do bespoke programming for recruiting and help get women jobs, which is also super important, whether you want to work at a tech startup or just a large tech conglomerate. We also focus on pitch competitions, getting money into the hands of women entrepreneurs. We want to get women the bag, period, and build generational wealth for our communities. And self-sufficiency and self-independence is something that is so critical in this time. We are all we got, and that has been made very, very apparent this year alone, but has always been something that's really important to us. And how do we actually learn that? You don't necessarily go to school for it. I went to school for entrepreneurship, but really learning on the job is something that's much, much more critical in terms of how do you actually build that skill set and get that muscle going, building that muscle and getting very, very used to uncertainty, getting used to risk, and then also being very, very used to the rewards.
So you said a bunch of things in there. That's like, ooh, yes, self-sufficiency and independence as a means to providing opportunities for oneself, generational wealth, so important, but also finding those opportunities, navigating, as you said, the VC space and building a thing that's never been built before. It's kind of like this dual task, right? Like, I would love to know how important is relationship building when it comes to being able to hopefully eventually have that self-sufficiency. So many founders feel like I have to do this on my own, or, I'm the one who has to do this.
Right.
But where does the relationship building piece fit into this whole world?
Relationships are everything. Let me just start and end there. When we think about access and capital, right? So, there's the financial capital, the dollars, right? But dollars don't necessarily get you into rooms. You have to get into the rooms in order to have the right opportunities presented to themselves, to the business. I think about, getting the right mentors, the right advisors, getting the right resources served up to your business. This is a relationships business in and of itself. To get access to the right clients, to build your portfolio, like there's no necessarily amount of money that's going to be able to do that. So relationships are really everything as it relates to scaling, right? So, money can help you build your MVP, right? Like you're going to need a certain amount of money to pay a developer to, build that app, right? Or build, that initial platform. And just as a side note, don't spend a whole lot of money. Spend enough to get enough product market fit to test that hypothesis. Cool. But in order to actually scale, this becomes, getting those institutional clients, getting those enterprise clients. Those are relationships. That's not necessarily, paying somebody off, right? Like you've got to actually build relationships to get into the rooms, to get those introductions, and then be able to let your product have enough value that they'll allow that test to happen. So, relationship building is really key, but you actually have to have a product that works. Let me also, put that out there.
Mm-hmm. I would love to know, for you in your life, in your career, in all the things that you've done, have there been any pivotal relationships? I mean, whether it was family and friends or college roommate, or, that person who told you, like, you need to go to this conference, you need to go to talk to this person. What are some of the relationships that have really helped to propel you in your career?
Oh man. Let's see. Well, I would say, I'm actually reminded of a very good friend of mine that actually passed away about a month ago, Osei Van Horn. He was just an amazing relationships guru. Always knew what to say and how to say it. Always had you in mind. He always was very open and generous with introductions, and always made introductions to people in different industries. So my background actually was in fashion retail. I started my career at Macy's. And then went to business school because I wanted to, transition into a different career. And so, having gone to the Kellogg School at Northwestern University, I had never heard of private wealth management and finance and venture capital management consults. Like I had no idea what any of these things were. And I'd met Osei through MLT. And, he said, oh, you've got to meet this person. You've got to meet this person. You've got to meet this person. And so it just was such a, very open and welcoming and warm opportunity to meet people and not have to feel, intimidated and in a place where it can be very intimidating to meet people in finance and technology and asset management and private wealth. And you're like, I have no idea what this stuff is. So I think that there's some really amazing people that I've met in my life that, especially at the right time, that have just been very, very transformational. And I truly value those opportunities and those moments. And it's allowed me to grow and expand and remember how important it is, to be, not only humble, but just aware and intentional about how relationships are built, and how they need to be cultivated as well. And to be very mindful of that for sure.
No, that's a beautiful thing. Now that you are in a position to be that person who, again, is telling people about, opportunities, sharing that knowledge, I love how you keep reiterating this isn't information that a lot of us just have access to, when we're just starting companies or before we know we want to start companies, or if we want to, some of this information is just unless someone tells you, unless someone brings you in, unless someone tells you, what the next step should be, you'll never know. So now that you're in a position to be that person, what does it feel like for you? Why is it important for you to be the plug?
It's important because it's bigger than me. And I just want to see us win. When someone else wins, it's like, that's me. It's so important that it's more than me that wins. we are in the fight of our lives right now. My dad used to point out, so I'm originally from North Carolina, born and raised, and my dad used to point out the golf course that did not allow him to play golf at when we would drive down, Hillendale, Willowdale golf course in Durham, North Carolina, did not used to allow Black people to play golf in northern Durham, North Carolina. He reminded me of drinking water fountains where he was, colored water fountains that he would have to drink from. Like this is recent memory. My dad, this is not my grandfather, my great grandfather, this is my dad. Okay. Like I, like my generation, our generation have grown up thinking that, being discriminated against or, being, having less is something that's far removed. It's not far removed, folks. And I think that I'm reminded of that daily. And so it is urgent to me that we are focused on building not only generational wealth, generational access, generational relationships, generational businesses. It is urgent that we are focused on building these types of opportunities, because if it ain't urgent now, I don't know when it is going to be urgent. So I think that it's just really, really important to me to be the plug, because someone's got to do it, and I think that I'm only one piece, right? Like if I'm the plug over here, someone else can be another portion, right? Someone's got to be the plug, and someone else has got to be the spoke, and someone else has to be the wheel, and someone else has to be the key, and someone else has to be the road. And there all has to be multiple pieces in order for this thing to work. So I'm only trying to do my part.
I think that's great. I think, to your point about we're all we got at this particular time, but we are enough. We can totally
You're absolutely
do that.
right about
Yes.
that.
Sometimes folks feel like, okay, in order for me to be a part of the change or to help people, like, do I need to start my own organization? Do I need to formally do some programming to help? Like, what would you say is like the smallest thing a person who's like, yes, I too would like to help in some kind of way. I want to help build relationships. I want to help someone, get knowledge. Like, what?
Buy from a Black owned business. That's it. It doesn't have to be everyone, but like have a Black doctor, Black dentist, a Black insurance agent, buy from a Black car salesman, a Black real estate agent, buy from make sure at least, I don't know, 30% of the and because sometimes it's just subconscious that you just go to the first person, right? Go to make sure that you try. They go to the second or third. Make 2 attempts to at least try to have a Black or brown person get your dollars. That's all. It's not, sometimes it can be hard. Sometimes, but oftentimes it's probably not hard. Now, listen, this is a balance. If there's a way to make Black-owned purchasing decisions, make them.
Very simple, practical advice. There it is. And so, yes, we have discussed the urgency of this work now. As you said, if now is not the time, then I don't know what it is. But as focused as we are on making sure we're building these communities, presenting solutions, learning from one another, This year at Goodie Nation, a huge theme for us is Imagine That, where, yes, we're in the doing the work mode, but also we want to imagine what we want the future to look like and not just like constantly be like, reactionary, we have to do something. And so for you, if you could imagine either this year, beyond this year, what the innovation economy would look like in a way that's, I don't know, reflects your own values, your own wishes, the work that you're doing. If you could just snap your fingers and you're like, yes, we did it, done. What would it look like?
If I could snap my fingers and the innovation economy looks a certain way. Well, I think I would see more, like par for the course, I would see more Black and brown founders have startups that they keep for longer periods of time. Number one, they would have more profitable businesses for longer. They have more profitable businesses for longer periods of time. And they'd have more time to develop the business. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think so many times we're running with such lean operations. We're not given enough capital up front to actually develop the business model, to determine whether or not we have a business before we just run out of money and we just don't have a business. So if we actually have enough, runway up front just to imagine whether or not we actually have a business and give ourselves enough room to do that and fail and be a serial entrepreneur the way everyone else is a serial entrepreneur and fail and get another $1 million, to fail and be a serial entrepreneur and get another $1 million and fail and be a serial entrepreneur and get another $1 million. I'd love that. I think that would be awesome to be able to just get, lots and lots and lots of chances to just play and enjoy being, playing with ideas. I'd love to just play around with ideas and being able to get the tools. I think one of the things, this is my last thing, I think it'd be so super interesting if we could just have one good data room, like one AI supercomputer that we could just play around with. Like, we just get one good one and we could just go to town on it. And I'm talking like the biggest, baddest, most advanced. OpenAI just gives us one of their, most advanced supercomputers that we could just play around with all day. I think that'd be phenomenal.
I love how your mind for imagination goes to imagine if we could play more. Imagine if we had the resources to play more in order to develop more sustainable ventures. Like, it sounds crazy, but it makes so much sense.
We don't get to play. Like, we gotta make this work off of $2. We gotta make it work,
Well, I co-sign that coming from the creative economy. Imagine, yes, if we just had more opportunities to play and learn and grow as founders. Regina, thank you so much for coming to imagine and dream with us as we are, again, doing the work, but doing so in a way that allows for these conversations to happen. And so if people wanted to find out more about you and the work that you do, how can they do that?
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate the time. Appreciate the conversation. If you want to learn more about Black Women Talk Tech, please follow us at Black Women Talk Tech on Instagram and Black Women Talk Tech on LinkedIn. Follow us there and join our email list on www.blackwomentalktech.com. And we do our email newsletter on LinkedIn as well. So Black Women Talk Tech.
Fantastic. Well, folks, I hope that you have some space in your day to day to imagine and to dream and to play in the midst of all the other things I know you're doing, because you're probably busy founders and other innovation economy people. But thank you for taking some time to listen to another episode of the Goodie Nation podcast, Queens of Innovation edition. And we will catch you the next time. Bye.